Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ogonna. If you're new, welcome. Do well to subscribe and join the family. We'll be happy to have you. Now, I'm sure that we've all seen the name of this video and we're all familiar with that phrase. That's how I am. I know. That's how I am. I don't call. That's how I am. I'm not a morning person. It's not today that we stay hearing these things. So I just really want to address that, but like in the light of self-improvement and trying to be a better person. I mean, I get it can be very annoying when people say that, but then the truth is that when people say these sorts of things, there's usually a reason. And generally, I believe that people always have a reason for doing things, whether they are aware of the reasons or not. So whether those reasons are conscious or unconscious, there is always a reason. And if you're trying to fix something, you need to know what is causing that thing so that you actually know how to address it. So first off, I'm going to mention some of the reasons why people do these things before we now talk about the solutions or how to address them. Number one, laziness. Yeah, so some people are just lazy. They're not willing to do the work that needs to be done to get to where they're going to. They would rather just sit down there and maybe just talk about how things are not working, or just talk about how like it's a lot of hard work and then they don't get anything done. Number two is fear. Some people are afraid, and I get it. When you don't know about something, or when something is unfamiliar, there's a tendency to experience fear. There's a tendency to be afraid because it's a case of you're not sure how to navigate certain things, maybe get to where you're headed to. Then the third reason is comfort. In a way, I feel like this is a bit similar to laziness because you're comfortable where you are. So you know that thing that people say, where people say, if it's not broken, why fix it? I feel like people who get really comfortable, that's the point where they are. So it's a case of this thing's working, I don't need to do anything else. This is fine by me, even if there is better in front. It's a case of I'm comfortable where I am. I'm not trying to do anything else. And now this does not mean that people shouldn't be content where they are, but it's a case of you're content with where you are, but you're headed somewhere, so you're not just resting there. Then the fourth one and the final one I'm going to talk about in this video is some people experience self-doubt. So it's a case of maybe they don't feel like they deserve it, or maybe they feel like they deserve it but they don't think that they're able to achieve it. I think that's also something that makes people stay where they are. It's like you don't think you're deserving of something, or you don't think that you're capable of achieving something, so you just stay where you are. This one is one of the tricky ones because it's a case of you know for certain that there is a possibility of better, but you don't think that you can achieve better. So in a way, it's like you rather just stay where you are. So maybe you don't experience the sadness or the disappointment of not being able to achieve what's ahead of you. So that's another reason why some people just stick to what they're used to, or just stick to where they are, or just stick to the phrase, that's how I am, like take it or leave it, like this is me, take it or not. Okay, so how do you go about fixing this issue? The first thing on my list is have a reason. You need to have a reason why you're trying to be better or why you're trying to do better. I think if not for anything, the first reason should be that we're dynamic people as human beings. Human beings are capable of change. Human beings are meant to change. By the time you know more, you're supposed to be able to do more. By the time you understand things better, you're supposed to be able to do things better. By the time you grow from becoming a child to becoming an adult, you begin to do things in a more mature way because that's just how life is meant to be. As you grow, as you progress in life, you're going to make changes because those changes suits the position that you have now found yourself, or now suits the particular level that you're at in life. You can't just stick to where you've been. The way you were doing things as a child when you were in primary school is not the way you do things now because you have more sense. The next thing on my list is, are you capable? Because the truth is, we need to be honest with ourselves. You may be willing to experience change, you may be willing to do certain things, but maybe you're not capable of doing it. But the only way you would know is if you actually take out time to check and see. And then if you're not capable, the next thing is now how do you now bring about the capacity? Like how do you now bring about capability? So unless you're actually really honest with yourself, there's certain things that you may not be able to do because you've not come to the point where you're saying, this is my actual situation and this is where I'm trying to get to. So it's now, what do I do to get here? The first issue is to identify what exactly is the limitation I'm experiencing. So that's the first thing. And for you to be able to identify that, you need to take out some time to examine yourself and examine your life. Once you've now figured that out, the next thing is now, how do I proceed from here? Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, it's easier to solve problems when you know what the causes are. So first off, are you comfortable where you are? So maybe one of the things you should be considering is the place where you are, the people around you, things like that. Those are things that can actually make you comfortable in the position that you are in life. I mean, there are some people who are not necessarily ambitious people. Like, it's their goals maybe just be at a certain level of maybe comfort, and then try to proceed from there. That's fine if that's the life you've chosen. If that's not the life you've chosen, then you need to reconsider your environment. So maybe you need to move to a place that maybe push you, or maybe you need to be amongst people who would actually push you. So that's the solution I would recommend if it's just a case of you've gotten really comfortable or just complacent with the particular position that you find yourself. If that's the position you found yourself, then you need to consider your environment. Maybe it's a case of you're living in a slow city, everything is very slow paced. So it's a case of I don't need to do much, everything's fine here, I'm good. But then in your mind you're aware that you're capable of more, or in your mind you just know that you're not living up to your full potential. So maybe you should consider moving to a more fast-paced city, or maybe moving to a more fast-paced organization, or just something like that. Those are things that could easily motivate you to actually do better if you're capable of better. The next one is, are you afraid? If it's a case of fear, one of the things that would easily help you overcome that fear is when you find out what can you expect. The thing is, when you know what to expect, or when you know, or when you have an idea of what something is about, it most likely reduces the fear about it, or reduces the mystery about it. So if it's a case of fear, look around. You most likely see people who have gotten to that level, or who have attained those positions, or you can just maybe do your research, just find out more about that particular thing and just try to demystify it. Most times when you demystify things, they become less scary, and then you're able to forge ahead and actually do what you need to do, because you've now reduced the unknown. And a lot of the times it's the concept of the unknown that actually makes people afraid. Okay, so the next one is, are you lazy? Is laziness your problem? Now, if laziness is your problem, one of the easiest ways to address laziness
is to make it easy for yourself. So break things down into small steps, things that you can easily accomplish and tick off. So don't do too many things at once so that you don't overwhelm yourself. The truth is, making this video, I'm also talking to myself, because occasionally laziness can creep in. But to be honest, that's really not a place you want to stay in. So you want to make things easy for yourself. Another option
is to ask yourself, will I be happy about this and then you fix a particular time frame. So will I be happy about this next week? Will I be happy about this next month? Will I be happy about this next year? So if you think that you're going to be happy about it, by all means. But if you know for certain, if you're honest with yourself, that you will not be happy about the position that you're at, by the time you look back at it in a few weeks, in a few months, in a few years, then it should propel you to actually begin to do better. Because if you're going to be unhappy at the end of the day, you consider that the hard work you need to put in now, or the work you need to put in, because it may not necessarily be hard. If laziness is your problem, you need to gauge it, like the pain of doing the work and the pain of regret. By the time you gauge them, and then you, in your mind, you know which one weighs more to you, you can now decide what works for you. If you feel like this is the better option for you, by all means. If not, just get up and do the work. Really, at the end of the day, you probably forget that you did that work by the time things balance out. Then is it a case of self-doubt? You don't believe that you can do it, or you don't think you're deserving of it? If that's the case, this one is really a mindset issue. So you need to find a way to change your mindset and actually begin to believe that you're deserving of good things, to believe that you're deserving of better things, to believe that you're deserving of the best things that life has to offer. It's just a case of mindset, and changing your mindset may not necessarily be the easiest thing, but I promise you the results of changing your mindset, fantastic. You really need to take out time to put in the work to actually change your mindset. So is it a case of you now maybe being around more positive people? Is it a case of, if you're a Christian, reading your Bible? Because there are things that you see and things that you hear that just makes you know that you're important. I mean, not in a way that makes you proud, but in a way that makes you realize that you can't just trivialize things that concern you. It just makes you take things that concern you seriously, because you're aware that you're deserving. You're aware that you were made for so much more than whatever it is you're currently doing. So if you're actually able to make that mindset by doing the things you need to do, maybe like I said, affirming yourself, or maybe just being in the midst of positive-minded people, or just reading your Bible, like I mentioned, as a Christian, there is so much that the Bible offers you, like with respect to clearing self-doubt and just improving your self-image generally. If you do all those things, you'll most likely put you in a better mental space where you're able to then proceed and do the things that you need to do to actually do better. And because at the end of the day, nobody is just how they are. A lot of things are learned. A lot of things are not innate in you. A lot of things are things you learned based off your environment, or just based off maybe the information that you've been receiving and things like that. So if you really want to be better, if you really want to do better, you're capable of doing better. That brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, do well to let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are about this phrase. Does it trigger you? Is it something that you just hear people say and just be like, listen, it's not serious? Or just let me know in the comment section what you think about it. And as usual, do well to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.